Welcome back, my faithful disciples. So let's see how to make Genshin Impact great again, or how to fix things in Genshin Impact that will make it good. Now, it's a very controversial video, so opinions might be different. I mean, the video we are going to watch, the opinions that he provide might be different from me, or maybe we can agree. So let's just go and watch it, boys. Also, verse 2 has made it, so yeah, it's going to be a long day, boys.
Current state of the game in more ways than one. One aspect in particular that's been the target of scrutiny is quality of life. More specifically, how Genshin's been lagging behind in quality of life. Quality of life's an interesting dynamic in gacha games. Having played a great many of them myself, I don't think there's any genre that puts anywhere near the same amount of priority towards it. It takes years or even decades for mainstream games or MMOs to introduce quality of life features. But in gacha games, you see a new thing being added every other month, it seems. Not a bad thing per se, but if you stick to a gacha game for a year or more, a good one that is, you'll find a number of important changes being added to the game for the sake of convenience. Genshin Impact,
especially Wuthering Waves, has done a very good job. Like, ever since its release, they are doing basically they are smashing every single thing, every single update.
It's a bit slow in that regard, and it's only become more aggravating for the player base to have asked for things to be done for years, only for it to rarely if ever take place. In my video on Genshin losing popularity, of the 5,000 or so comments, a huge portion of them were based on how the game's user experience ranks close to the worst among the mainstream titles, a statement that has grown more and more noticeable with every improvement competing titles have made. So for today, I want to make a video detailing as many changes I can think of that will improve the game's experience for everyone. After watching this, if you feel like I left out anything, be sure to let me know in the comments down below, and I suppose while you're down there, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. Anyway, let's get started. Quite possibly the most requested feature of all time is artifact loadouts. It's
definitely. It will make Genshin Impact way better. Like yesterday or maybe like 2 days ago, I was doing a challenge or spy abyss or something. So I needed, the artifact switched to different characters because my luck is pretty dog shit. So I have only limited artifacts that are good. So I actually, change artifacts for different characters. And after I've done the challenge in like an hour or maybe 2, after that, I just did not switch the characters, the artifacts. They were just there. And currently, like 5 or 6 of my characters have dogshit artifacts randomly. I have to literally look for every single artifact out there, because when you have a lot of characters, maybe even above 20 or 30, you will feel the pain to farm a lot of artifacts. So you will just not farm them. You will just put maybe 2 pieces on them or give them the artifacts you have already farmed. So that makes process go a lot more smoother. Yep, it's a bit difficult.
Point where players are feeding for loadouts every time a new patch is implemented. I'll be frank, I don't think we even need them in the game. The only time I would see them being actively used is if there are characters who routinely swap between 2 or 3 different sets. But
no, they definitely need it, brother. I mean, the new players might not need it. Nah, new players also need it. They need it more because they don't have time to farm for good artifacts and give it to every single character. So they have to literally hand swap every single artifact they can, and first search for that artifact. It's a long day.
For the most part, the majority of the cast only uses 1 each, with alternative options being side grades at best. Realistically, if they were to implement this, it wouldn't really be used as much.
Brother, it will be used like hell, not gonna lie. Like, players will cry, creators will scream, tears run down the streets. It will be a flood.
Since unlike HSR, for example, units don't have dual purposes, like how you can go follow-up attack or break on Himeko, or how you can go pure fiction relics or normal DPS relics on a couple Air Edition characters. I suppose if we had more endgame content variety, that could merit the need for loadouts, but at the moment, there's none. So why do people clamor for it to be implemented so aggressively? Memes aside, it's less about the feature itself and more about optics. The fact that it's been heavily requested for years and still neglected gives off the impression of the devs not really caring to adhere to player feedback. So adding this would be less of an
it will still be a big thing, according to me at least.
Actual quality of life mechanic, and more of a way to lend credence to Hoyo's intent. Next change is another heavily requested one, dialogue skip button.
Oh hell no, they will never add it. Definitely they will never ever add it. Because Genshin Impact has not added it in 4 years, so there's no way they will add it in the last 3 remaining years of the game.
Much as I'm sure it would be nice for every player to be a story lover, even as someone who studied narrative storytelling and video game storytelling in college, sometimes I just don't feel like sitting through paragraphs of what is ultimately meaningless banter between characters for hours on end, like the R&R quest. If this was a movie or anime where
Now, don't get me wrong, R&R quest was one of the best I have ever did. But the dialogues were paragraphs. Literally, they could have summarized the whole thing, or maybe made it more simpler to understand. Like that would have been more lovely. But instead they put on the paragraphs. Holy fuck, it was a long day.
You could see tons of emotions and actions or visualization, that would be a different story, but you'd be lucky to see any character moving around or being expressive during conversations. One more issue is that several gameplay elements or areas on the map are locked behind said tedious time.
Definitely makes sense. Like when a character is static, I'm not reading their bullshit.
Dialogue, like the Aranara quest. One of the biggest things players were happy to see in WUWA is the option to get a TLDR of what's happening in the cutscene.
Wait, what? There is a summary thing? Huh? When did they add that? Is it in Wuthering Waves? I am not aware of it.
Before skipping it, greatly appeasing those who, while they may sit through the main storyline due to its importance, don't really care for side quest stories and whatnot, like the Aranara quest. Additionally, the most annoying cases of unskippable dialogue—
Where did he find that quality video though? Like what the fudge? What's the lowest one? Yeah, 144p. Brother, that's literally below 144p. Was it exported, what, like 7 times?
would definitely be the ones where the characters don't even talk, yet for some reason you can't just mash click and get through everything. Like the fucking Aranara quest. Please Holo just give us the option to skip stuff. People who like reading and listening can still do so, while those who just want to get to the new area or something can be able to in a reasonable amount of time. Third change, can we please take on the same weekly boss more than once a week? HSR, CCT, and WUA also have a 3-time claim limit, but they have the decency to let you fight the same boss 3 times. Genshin still to this day only lets you fight them once a week, which means anytime a new weekly boss comes out and the character needs their materials, you physically are unable to max out that character for upwards of a month. You need 12 materials.
That, I don't know about it. I definitely don't know about it. Like I know shit tons of players, or maybe according to me, in my opinion, like 50 to 60% players don't even max out their talents. They upgraded to like what is 7 or 8, maybe 9 at max. Because after 9, you have to consume a crown. So unless you literally main that character or you are after their ass, you will not use the crown to upgrade them to level 10. So yeah, I don't know about it, mate. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I believe, or was it 9? I'm pretty sure it's 12, considering it starts at level 7.
Sometimes you even forget about it. You're like, okay, whatever.
Bosses drop 1 to 2 materials per week. So yeah, people weren't even able to max out Mavuika until like February, which is kind of insane. I mean,
Mavuika requires what? Arlecchino, right? Yep, she requires Arlecchino's artifact, if I'm not, material. Or maybe I might be wrong, because if she actually requires Arlecchino's, it's already like enough time for players to farm her. Maybe new players might find it taxing, but for old players it was like a single day.
Not saying they have to, Mavuika one-shotted everything even at 177. But again, quality of life, they're not game-changing features, but that's all the more reason why they're important to add. It doesn't take a lot to do this, but it's like when Asian moms randomly fix you a plate of fruit without you asking for it. It's a gesture to show that they care about this stuff. Change number 4, remove the fucking day of the week.
Please, whoever's remove this thing and my soul is yours. It has been like years. I'm just begging you at this point. I am on my knees, whoever's. Try to understand how serious of a situation it is. Like, I'm farming on Monday and apparently this thing not available. You know what? Wait till Tuesday, and on Tuesday I forget about it. Wait for Friday. Friday I forget about it. On Sunday you can farm for every single thing out there. But hell no.
I hate this.
You literally cannot even stack condensed resin above level 5, so what's even the point?
So much. I'm sure most people have a schedule or write down what they plan to spend their resin on each day, but I can't be bothered to do.
If you're actually making schedule for it, brother, get a life, not gonna lie. Get a proper life.
There are so many times where I want to work on a character on a Tuesday, only to find out their materials are a Monday-Thursday thing, forcing me to have to wait 2 days to actually get to it, but then by Thursday I forget and use my resin on something else.
Yep, definitely. He's so real for it.
Why is this even in the game? Sure, it may have been a fun little gimmick to show the passage of time, especially during lockdown when most people lost their sense of time, but can they just please allow us to farm whatever materials we want no matter what day? It's just meaningless time gating for no reason.
Exactly, brother.
Change number 5, condensed resin to be used on boss domains. This is kind of a personal
Oh hell yeah, please. Hell yeah, please, because it's annoying. It's literally annoying. Why cannot we use condensed resin on a boss? Just to use it, get my condensed resin, and boom, it's over.
Request of mine, it's become muscle memory.
Wait, if I'm not wrong, like bosses take 40 resin as well, right? So it's not about condensed resin at this point, like It's equal to condensed resin.
Memory at this point for me to log on every day and instantly go to the crafting bench to condense my resin. That way, I only have to do an artifact or a material domain 5 times instead of 10. Several times I autopiloted and condensed my resin, forgetting today I was supposed to farm ascension materials that drop from a boss.
Brother, the video qualities you have chosen, holy fudge, where did you even take them from? Like, you should have just sent me a mail. I will send you better quality.
Except you can't, despite world bosses also costing 40 resin. They're the same energy cost, so if they can also let us exchange a condensed resin to claim them, that would be great. Change 6. Remote access. Even though I'm a huge Paper Mario and Pokemon Coliseum fan, I
But
really
is my quality maximum or am I just hating? Yeah, but the quality is maximum.
hate games that don't let you save wherever you want. There's probably a logistical reason for it, maybe to save memory or whatever by not letting you save in any location, but for something essential like the crafting bench, having to teleport to a town every time you want to craft something is rather tiresome, to put it lightly.
I mean, just go to Liwe. Liwe literally has a crafting bench placed right before the teleport waypoint, so pretty simple, brother. Come on, that's not that big of a deal.
I suppose
Plus, it also allows you to, explore or maybe come back to new locations.
the same can be said for expeditions and claiming commission rewards too. Look, I love Catherine too, best NPC world, but when every other
The Catherine thing is annoying, maybe to me, because for 4 years I've been doing this thing. Like, coming to Catherine, please give me those 20 Primo Gems, Catherine, please, baby. And yeah, she is still a sweet character though, like, not gonna lie, out of every single character out there, she's the most loyal one.
other game lets you claim stuff remotely, it's a huge pain to have to keep going back every single time. If they want to meet us in the middle, maybe make it so we can craft a one-time use
Catherine, the best wife, it's not even close.
remote bench, like if it was Minecraft. I wouldn't mind spending 4 iron or wood per day to make a crafting.
But who places every single thing on Mora,
in the
brother?
middle, maybe make it so we can craft a one-time use
Every single thing on Mora, what? Who does that? I mean, I don't do that. I totally don't do that.
remote bench, like if it was Minecraft. I wouldn't mind spending 4 iron or wood per day to make a crafting bench. If anything, that would add a bit more fun to the game. Once a week, I usually take a few minutes to collect like 20 crystal flies to keep my supply of condensed resin good to go. But point being, please give us remote access to these things. It may sound overly spoiled or entitled for me to complain about taking 10 more seconds to teleport to a town, but it's less about Genshin not doing it and more about everyone.
Brother, believe me, I can agree so much. Like, I, gathered my friends and I was like, brothers, open your world because I am coming in your world. I'm coming inside of your world. So I entered their world and then collected every single crystal fly out there. It was like 1 hour of me continuously collecting crystal flies. I collected around 300 or maybe 400, so I just don't need them.
Else doing it that forces Genshin to have to follow along. If every other game gives
And also, now there is a thing called Crystal Fly Trap. You can use it to gain 15 crystal flies every week. So basically, 3 days of condensed resin supply.
you that convenience, it makes the games that don't have it feel that much more tedious. That's why quality of life is so important. It's not the feature itself that people notice, rather lack thereof. They emphasize that a lot during my UX classes. People don't really notice something when it's working well, they only notice it when it's not working or when it's not there at all. Change 7. General Material Conversion. Genshin gives you the ability to convert attribute stones and weekly boss materials into other materials of the same category, but it would be nice if they could do that for all materials. Being able to convert, say, prosperity talent mats to gold mats, or kindling to contention just...
I mean, would not it just cancel out the previous one? Like, the days limit, like this one is on Monday, this one is on Tuesdays kind of thing. So it will be just not required because like you can farm this on Monday and then you can convert this into this. Simple. You don't even need to farm this on Tuesday.
This to equity,
So it's like taking care of 2 things at the same time.
freedom to ballot. On that note, weekly boss materials can only convert to other materials that drop from the same boss. If they don't have any intention of allowing the
Yep.
same weekly boss to be taken on thrice per week, then the option to convert other boss materials to that one would be nice. I'm sitting on like 100 Devolin mats that have been collecting dust on account of Hoyo not releasing a Mostak character in years. For that matter, a general material substitute would be helpful too.
I mean, I
Which is how it
stopped.
has those tiers of
I stopped farming Duolin a long time ago. Like a week ago, maybe not even a week ago. Basically a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
everything thingamajiggies that can be used in place of any essential materials you have. If they could bring those to Genshin, I would greatly appreciate it. Having mentioned Devolin, that brings me to our next change. More of a new feature instead of a change, but I'd like them to add a special challenge difficulty for every weekly boss. Not for materials or anything, but maybe for leaderboards or bragging rights or something. Even though the newer weekly bosses like the Knave and Primal Fire can be reasonably...
brother, that thing literally will be for whales only. Like, there's no way our F2P is getting in those ranks, because there are a lot of whales in Genshin Impact, and definitely we are getting clapped. If we are cooked, if we actually they added this thing, we are cooked, because there are a lot of characters. Meta keeps on changing a lot of times. Damage numbers keep on rolling in, so yeah, does not make sense.
difficult, and if you don't know the mechanics, the majority of these...
In the name of difficulty, they literally increase the boss's HP as well as their, what we call it, defense. Like, you cannot deal certain amount of damage, or they cannot die so quicker. And then they will also increase the ATK. So it depends on how much attack you can do to that particular character. Painful in it. And especially when there is a time limit, okay, that's
These bosses go down like
atrocious.
lead balloons with a halfway decent team. In fact, you could straight up skip half of their mechanics by one-tapping them right away. Basically, I'm asking for Genshin to do the tactical hologram treatment, make the same boss but make them insanely difficult, maybe for extra currency or something we can work towards. Something player anxiety, oh to hell with that. Kind of a shame too, given most of these bosses have elaborate sequences and phases. We just don't care though, cause we nuke everything in one hit. And the next change, I say this because Honkai Star Rail has this. Every artifact set should be available.
I have not touched it ever since it was released. What do you mean by that? I have to use 3 bad artifacts for a chance to get a good artifact. And they might also be trash, so what's even the point?
The strong box the instant they release. I get that Hoyo doesn't want us to stock up on new artifacts without
The gladiator, or what do we call that, elemental mastery one, we can use them to get the new ones. Yeah, they should definitely add it. You know what, I agree with you.
for stepping foot in the new domain, but the rate at which new sets come in is so painstakingly slow. In defense of Hoyo, they have been speeding things up a little, but remember when we didn't get version 1 artifacts until version 3, or version 2 artifacts until version 4?
Nope, I don't
Considering how
remember.
mind-numbing the artifact grind is, if they could let us convert bricks into new pieces that, let's be real, will also be bricks, that would alleviate the grind a little bit. If you're interested in seeing all the artifact changes I had in mind, I actually do have a recent video on it for you to watch. Again, more of a feature than a change, but something that would be fun to try out is an infinite spiral abyss mode where players can progressively go deeper and deeper into floors 13, 14, 15, 16.
I mean, there's literally a challenge out there. Like, they add that challenge every single time. Like, you can farm as much as you want to showcase your whale abilities. Again, it will be literally whale only. No F2P is doing that thing. Like, players cannot be bothered at this point.
16, 17, so on and so forth, with exponentially ramping difficulty to see how far they can get. Just like the weekly boss challenge mode, I think a big reason why people feel so bored in the game lately is that once you do all the events and stuff, there really is no reason to keep playing or working towards anything. Even casual players
I'm actually genuinely asking this. If you are an old player, do you even complete the challenge on the same day? Because I, for one, do it in the last 2 days or maybe the last day.
something to
Sometimes even like 5 hours remaining and I complete that.
towards. Right now, there just isn't an incentive to do anything other than the bare minimum, and so adding content, even if there's no beneficial reward to it, can be enough to make players
Oh, 11 ping must be nice, right? I never get that low.
want to keep
I always roam around 100 to maybe 800.
going further with their units. Or they could do something really simple, perhaps common EXP materials or maybe even trophies to add to their account. Whatever the case, I'll be begging Hoyo to add more endgame content until they eventually do.
Oh, they are adding, definitely. I saw leaks. I saw leaks. New endgame mode coming, boys, in the next version. Take it from me. I'm not spreading what kind of endgame it is, so yep, just take it that a new endgame is releasing in the next version.
Taking a break from new stuff for a moment, I want to bring some attention to old stuff. Cinnabar Spindle, Festering Desire, Ultimate Overlord's Mega Magic Sword. What do these all have in common?
Limited
You
weapons.
can't get them anymore. Albedo's unique 2-part story, Unreconciled Stars, Labyrinth Warriors, you can't access those either. Genshin has a ton of great flagship events over the years, some that contributed a ton to the continuity and or gameplay.
No, I also did missed a lot of them, but they will definitely not add it. I mean, it does not make sense at this point because, like, some of them have already reached conclusion in the main story. Like the new story, the Albedo's previous 2 events, limited ones, have been concluded. Like the dual and okay, I'm not going to spread leaks now if you have not completed it. You can skip the 10-second mark, boys. Basically, Devlin is dead, so his heart has been taken out, and now it does not make any sense for the Dragon Spine thingy. As for this thing, he already reached conclusion in Sumeru, so does not matter. As for the Golden Apple Archipelago, it already got destroyed, I think. Golden Apple Archipelago can be indeed included. Simulanka, it cannot be because the baby Dualin has already reached the conclusion, and a lot of players that started even in Sumeru, even in Fontaine, they have reached the end game already.
But none of those are accessible anymore, which is a huge loss of content in a game that desperately could use it. Honkai Star Rail WUA and I believe ZZZ let you play through flagship events at...
Now I don't know, because I have recently started playing Wuthering Waves, and there is a thing that you can play the permanent events that you missed, and I have only done one of them. So I don't know if it has a big impact on the story or not.
Anytime you want, even being able
because I don't know if in Genshin Impact only, there's a big impact of those permanent events in the story later on.
Collect rewards from them. Granted, you still miss out on the time-limited rewards, which usually contain refinement mats for the event weapons, but not being able to access old events really sucks in a game that doesn't do reruns. Most gachas have reruns for events specifically for this purpose, to allow players who weren't around back when they first came out to experience them, or for those who didn't get to finish all the quests to finally do so. HSR even lets you buy old event light codes. Hoyo needs to do this for Genshin. If anything, it could be helpful in making filler versions more worthwhile, running the flagship event but also rerunning an old one. Or they can do a part 2 type thing, reuse the same assets but write up some new dialogue or add new items. For the next change, I want character choice banner rotation. The Chronicle Wish is a start, credit where it's due, but when HSR made it so you can select from a pool of version 1 units to replace the 50-50 losses, I can't fathom why they didn't think of that.
Wait, what? Seriously? In the character event warp, when you receive a 5-star character, it can either be the featured rage up character or one of the following characters. Okay. So we can now get... Okay.
For Genshin, though we were promised more standard banner units and even just got one recently in Misugi, letting us choose 3 characters to replace the 9 we can roll in the standard banner would be a great way for people to...
Oh, that will be amazing, not gonna lie, but... Still, since there are a lot of standard banner characters, I don't know, I will probably get C9GG in it.
Get their hands on old characters, especially since we're getting to a point where Hoyo is forced to do reruns for multiple units at a time to fit everyone in. I would prefer they allow it to be thrown into the Acquaint Fate pool instead of just for that banner, but I also didn't mind meeting them halfway. Getting constellations of old characters can be a way for them to keep up with the modern ones. C3, C4 Yelan, for example, would certainly be a caliber above C0, C1. On that note, while we're talking about pulling, a very generous change for players would be the ability to acquire subsequent constellations of a character through Star Glitter. Wuthering Waves has been doing this.
Oh yeah, Wuthering Waves already has this thing, and I love it, to be honest. Like, you can literally use or consume your Star Glitter to get the constellation directly. Like, it will prevent you from losing 50-50. It requires less amount of pulls. It's literally best thing ever.
This for their sequence bands, and I think it's a nice gesture.
Plus, you can literally farm in the previous one, like you lost 50-50 on the Chiori one, Chiori banner, and then you can farm those Star Glitter. You can use them in the next one, like C1 Mavika, you can get it.
For 2 reasons. 1, the vast majority of players aren't able to get their hands on more than 1 copy of a 5-star character if they're free to play, unless they save up a ton and/or are extremely lucky. At the same time, recently anyway, Hoyo's been tailoring 5-star characters to really pressure you to get their first and second constellations, which are financially...
Oh yeah, I have noticed it. Like their C1 or C2 are quite broken. Previously it was like C6 is pretty broken, so a lot of players be like, we are not spending thousands of dollars. But then since it's C1 and C2, players are like, you know what, we can at least spend a little bit and get that because it will make our character broken anyway. And still the C6 is still broken, so it's like there were only 1 layer before and now there are 2 layers, so it's pretty good. Like C1 and C2, I don't know how many characters have that great ability to get us good C1 and C2. Let's mention the new character, Escoffier, her C2, C1, the fabulous.
Inaccessible for most people. 2, it basically introduces a pity for the pity. I don't have the exact link off the top of my head, but someone shared that they lost every single 50-50 since the beginning of the game, which put them dead ass at the bottom 0%.
Brother, how much unlucky you have to be for that to happen to you? I mean, I will just delete my account at this point, create a new one. Your account is cursed, brother. Eliminate it.
And 50-50 luck. Having this would make it so if you lose 10 50-50s in a row, you could eventually get compensated a 5-star constellation. It's just something I think most gachas already do, not just WUA. I recall seeing them in Blue Archive as well.
Why were you playing?
Resident Overflow system. Very simple one. I know they recently bumped up the cap to like 200 so that we don't have to redo it within 24 hours, and unlike WUA, Genshin has the option to condense resin so we effectively have a cap of 400 instead of 200, but giving players overflow energy at a slower rate is becoming more widely implemented these days. For that reason,
Wait, we can destroy that using Pyro character? It's my first time seeing it. I thought that we can destroy these crystals using only Cryo.
and I expect Toyo to do the same for
Guys, come on, I'm dumb and you know it.
Genshin. Sometimes players just have to skip a few days, whether for vacation, burnout, or for whatever reason. Knowing they're salvaging at least a portion of resin helps alleviate the FOMO a bit. Lastly, and one of the biggest ones, give us better multiplayer incentives. I said this before, I'll say it again, Genshin should have been an MMORPG. I haven't touched multiplayer basically in all of the past few years, mostly because
Brother, MMORPG actually is very painful. Like, if you have actually played MMORPG, brother, a lot of times it's hard to coordinate, innit? Like, I have played a lot of MMORPGs and holy fuck, it was horrible. For me, my luck has been bad. I only found like bad players so far. In Genshin Impact also, I used the co-op in the starting a lot. And it was very fun, to be honest, not gonna lie. The Genshin co-op was good. But after reaching Adventure Rank 55, I just stopped doing it because it did not even make any sense. Occasionally, I do co-op to just help the new players. And they are not grateful anymore. They're like, brother, thank you, now kill that thing. Come on, do this thing. Do this domain. Complete that artifact domain. Kill that boss. And I'm like, no.
everything is easy by yourself, and there's also not much of a reason to. Occasionally, events might encourage you to play with others or even mandate you to, but generally speaking, there's no practical incentive behind it. Something that could serve as maybe an extra layer of progression, or heck, even something like a raid boss that can be taken on by multiple parties of 4. I might just be looking at this from too much of an MMO point of view,
you are definitely looking at it in way of an MMORPG player.
Any sore spot for the game, especially for casual players who want to hang out with friends. Adding things you can only access in multiplayer would be a big boon for the game's staying power. So anyway, there are at least a dozen more quality of life changes or content features we could talk about, but I think I'll go with the 15 I chose for now. Genshin still has the potential to be a frontrunner for the gacha industry, but for them to restore player goodwill, they can't just do the bare minimum. It's all about going above and beyond, whether or not those features are actually conducive to a better experience. Essentially, it demonstrates attention to detail and a desire to improve the game in whatever way they can, without having to be told. If you look at other gacha games, either now or in the past, they would usually implement quality of life features soon after players have been clamoring for them, or they would just implement them without us asking for it in the first place. But I feel like for Genshin, they're only compelled to do so if the pressure from other competitors becomes too great. But that's
I mean, yeah, but obviously it does not make sense, does it? I mean, you know what? I'll take back my statement. It does make sense. If a game is providing the players what they want, players will not leave that game in the longer run. They will not complain much. They will appreciate the company. So if actually developers listen to the player base and the demands that players are presenting are reasonable, and then the developers are implementing that in game, then players will have literally zero issues with the game. I mean, there will be some issues. Some players will be like, brother, give that us to free. Give that thing for free. Give us that also. Give us that also. I saw that thing during the Wuthering Waves stream. I was like, what are they on about? Like, I don't know. The previous, when they told us about the Wuthering Waves rewards, I was like, they are pretty good. Why are they complaining so much? Maybe it's because I experienced the Genshin Impact 1st anniversary drama. Like, it was horrendous. My expectations are literally quite low. So what Wuthering Waves provided in the first hand, it was pretty good for me. I was like, Zion, they are providing so much rewards. And when I opened Twitter, people were like, what the fudge? I thought you were good, Kuro. You are being greedy now. What the hell? Tecton even did like what? A conference call on Zoom with tons of creators. He was like, what the fudge? These rewards? What? Pretty dog shamla. What the hell?
That's not the right mindset to have. You don't want to follow what other people are doing. You want to be the person trailblazing everything. In any case, what do you guys think about my list? Do you agree or disagree with my choices? Let me know in the comments.
There were a lot of agreements, there were a lot of disagreements, but it's fine because people have different opinion and it's healthy.
Down below. And of course, while you're down there, you're welcome to share any suggestions you have of your own. For now though, if you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter @varsverum, join my Discord server, and check out my other Genshin Impact discussions if you haven't yet. But till next time, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
Okay, boys. So that's it. It was pretty good. Let me know about what are your thoughts on this topic in the comment section. Now, as for me, I think they can improve Genshin Impact by literally listening to player base, what they are saying. But yeah, they will not listen to it. However, you do you. I am still loving both the games, Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves. They have their own charms.